Okay, I'm making a little video to show how the YouTube video titled Free Energy Magnet Motor Engine does not work. In that video, a pretty common cooling fan for like that's used in a computer was used to with some magnets to try to power it with just the magnets and with no power connected to the wiring or no apparent power connected to the wiring in the video. So I've got a computer cooling fan right here, just like the one that they used in the video. It's a pretty simple cooling fan. Take it apart and show you the inside really quick. It's got a axle and a magnet around the inside here. You can see that it's a magnet because it sticks to the computer hard drive magnets that I have. And then you can see that it's got 4 wound electrical magnets on the inside. And these are powered and they have a field when electrical energy is applied through the power cable. So this goes on here like that. And what we're going to do, just like the YouTube video, notice that there's nothing attached to the wires here. I'm not going to clip it because I might want to use that wire later. Is basically put those magnets around the fan, and in the YouTube video it just started to spin by itself and all the magnets were placed around it. You can see here it's not spinning, which is a bummer because free energy from a motor like this would be awesome. It would change the world, but it doesn't work. And it doesn't work because of thermodynamics. And I'll talk about that in a second, but I'm just turning it a little bit to see if maybe it's the orientation relative to the coils or the magnet of the motor that is causing it to not work. And you can see that regardless of how I position it, it doesn't just automatically start spinning on its own. So that's too bad. So we saw it spinning, we took it apart, we saw it was the same kind of magnet. What's wrong? Well, the problem is that a motor like this is basically violating the first law of thermodynamics if it were to run on its own with these magnets. If power is not applied through the cable, it needs power from somewhere to turn the fan. So that power's got to come from somewhere, and if you don't have power coming through the cable, the field in the magnets is not going to supply that power because it's not doing. The field doesn't actually supply energy. Okay, so we've got the magnets mounted on the outside of the motor, like was done in the video, because that was presented as an alternative design. And when you put the thing in there, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't work still. Well, it turns out that there's a couple reasons that might not work. Still, the same thing applies. The first law of thermodynamics is not going to be violated. The first law stating that heat and work are forms of energy transfer, and because there's no energy transfer going into the system, it's not going to spin. It's not going to do any work on the fan blades. But the other thing that's interesting is that the field, and the guy doesn't talk about this in the video, but the field on the magnets completely changes when you put them on the side. You know, the orientation perpendicular to the fan, or parallel to the fan, and then perpendicular this way to the fan, changes the field, the field's impact on the electrical magnets or the other parts of the system. So just reorienting, you are really strong. Just reorienting them doesn't really cause the system to work either. But I wanted to show it at least in both orientations, because that way, at least it's a complete representation of what he was doing, and we can show that it's not working. Thanks for watching.